Hello, this is Liz. I am happy to bring you another Yin Yoga practice. If you're new to a Yin Yoga practice, it's very slow, it's very stationary, and it's designed that way to get into all our connective tissue, the things that keep us together, our ligaments, our tendons, the fascia that runs under our skin, around our organs, through our muscles. We're not going to move very much. There are 3 guidelines we do follow in this practice. The first is when we come into any of the poses, we come into what we call our edge, that place in your body where you feel a little bit of tension, a little bit of gentle stress. We become still, and then we hold the pose for several minutes, allowing the body to gently open a little bit. And when we put a little stress into these connective tissues, it helps to stimulate them to grow stronger, increases our range of motion. But before we get into the pose, let me talk to you about some props here. We're going to use some props today. If you don't have the regular yoga props, I have some beach towels here. And I also grabbed some pillows. So if you want to pause this video and go gather some towels, beach towels or bath towels, and some pillows, and then we'll come back and get started. We're going to start our practice today sitting up nice and tall, straight spine, feeling our sits bones, the bottom of our hip bones grounded down into the mat, crown of the head's reaching towards the sky. We can just rest our hands on our knees. I always like to start practice with 3 cleansing breaths. We're going to inhale through our nose, exhale through our mouth. Inhale through our nose, exhale through our mouth. One more inhale and exhale, letting it all go. Everything on your to-do list can wait until you are finished practicing. Keeping that nice long spine. Let's let our breath settle down into its natural rhythm, finding your inhales and finding your exhales. Just taking a couple minutes here to breathe, to center ourselves. When we focus on our breath, focus on the inhales and the exhales, our minds start to settle down. Finding a little peace. Maybe closing the eyes or finding a soft gaze in front of you. So just take a couple minutes here to breathe. And feel the body breathing. Feel the belly expanding and contracting. Feel the rib cage expanding and contracting. And feeling the chest lift and lower. Whole body is breathing. Let's take a couple more rounds of breath here. And then gently open the eyes. We're going to come into our first yin pose, which is a forward bend. I'm going to bring myself on an angle so you can see me a little bit better. So we're going to bring our legs straight out in front of us, but because we want our muscles to not be engaged, we can take a beach towel or 2 and put them underneath our knees. So we're kind of supporting our knees. Legs are bent, muscles are soft. Finding a nice tall spine here, we're going to inhale. And as we exhale, come over into a forward fold over the knees. Maybe you want to grab one of your pillows just for a little support. Maybe you want to grab 2 of them. So you want to find that tension in your body, that gentle tension. You may feel it along the backs of the legs here, into the hips, into the spine. I'm going to set my timer here. So we're going to hold this forward fold for about 3 minutes. If you have any diagnosed issues with your back, your lower back, your upper back, and a forward fold is not a great position for you, we can keep the spine straighter, maybe a little hinge into the hips, keeping our spine straight, maybe just supporting our arms and hands on the pillows. But our legs are relaxed, our feet are relaxed, and we're looking for that gentle tension in the body, either with your back straight or coming into a deeper forward fold. Maybe feeling the breath in the back of the body. Breathing, finding stillness. So a yin practice is like braces for our body. If you had braces as a kid, you know they were on for a long time, or it seemed like a long time. And there was definite tension in the teeth as they were pulled into a new position. So we can think about our yin practice as braces for our body, right? We want a little bit of tension, appropriate gentle tension. We want stillness to allow the body to gently open. And we're going to hold these poses for several minutes, and that's the time. If gravity is inviting you to go a little further and it feels good, allow it to happen. Anytime you need to release the pose before I cue it, please listen to your body. Please honor your body and come out of the pose if you need to. If you're settled into a really good place where you're feeling that gentle tension, stay right there. Breathe. Notice any sensations. So this forward bend is one of the 6 movements of the spine. We're actually going to go through all 6 of them today. Keeps our spine really healthy. Let's take 3 more breaths here. On your 4th breath, you're going to walk yourself up. You might feel a little fragile. We come back up to seated. We're going to bring our fingertips behind our hips here. And as we inhale, lifting the heart, finding a very gentle back bend, a little counterbalance. And then releasing the pose. I'm just going to put my props over to the side here. We're going to come onto our hands and knees into table pose. So spreading the fingers wide, middle finger pointing to the top edge of your mat. Your shoulders are over your wrists, your knees are under your hips. And you're looking down at the mat, creating a nice long spine. Just a couple of cat and cows here. So as we inhale, and then we exhale, we're going to pull the belly button into the spine, rounding it up towards the ceiling, dropping our head, dropping our tailbone. And then as we inhale, allow the belly to sway. Our hips, our shoulders, our head come up. Exhaling into cat, rounding the spine. Inhaling, swaying the belly. And a couple more with your own breath. Let the breath move your body in and out of this pose. And then we're going to come back to a neutral spine and walk ourselves down to our bellies. So all the way down onto the mat. We're going to stack our hands and rest our forehead on our stacked hands. Just taking a breath or two here. Our arms are relaxed, our legs are relaxed, our feet are relaxed, our glutes are relaxed. Everything's relaxed. No tension here. And then we're going to come into a gentle back bend by lifting our head and shoulders, folding our elbows in underneath our shoulders, but just a little bit in front of our shoulders. And then bringing our gaze between our fingers. So this is a back bend. You're going to feel a compression into the lumbar spine. Let me set my timer here. So a little compression into the lumbar spine here. If this is too much on your lumbar, we can walk our hands forward. Elbows come away from the shoulders. That lessens the curve. So find a place that feels really good for you. A little tension into the lower back. Find your stillness. We're going to hold this for several minutes. The yin practice is supposed to be a little uncomfortable because we are stressing our tissues. But we want that stress to be appropriate. We want it to be gentle. Too much stress could cause injury. Too little stress doesn't really do anything good to your body. So we're trying to find that middle ground, that place where you feel an appropriate gentle stress. Maybe you feel the breath behind your belly button here. Notice any sensations you feel. We have a habit of labeling things good and bad, but can we just feel the sensations in our body without labeling them? So the last minute of the pose, if you want something a little more intense, a little deeper back bend, we're going to take our hands to the upper corners of the mat and straighten our arms. This is going to be a much deeper compression into the lumbar spine. If it feels good, stay here. If not, come back to Sphinx pose. Just for a little bit longer. All of our bodies are different. All of our bones are shaped a little different. So what might feel good to me might not feel good to you, and vice versa. Let's take our 3 rounds of breath here. On your 4th breath, we're going to bring ourselves back through Sphinx pose, bending the elbows, and then all the way down to the mat, stacking our hands, resting our forehead on our hands. And then bending the knees so the soles of the feet come up towards the ceiling and just letting the feet rock side to side. And then coming into stillness, dropping the feet back down to the mat. We're going to bring our hands under our shoulders, lift ourselves up through our table pose, coming into a wide-legged child's pose. So let me face you this way. You're going to bring the knees as wide as your mat, bring your toes together, and settle your hips back towards your sits bones. Reaching forward, finding child's pose. And I'll turn back this way. Breathing. Child's pose is a resting pose. We're also stressing the inner thighs and a little bit into the hips and the knees. If your knees out to the outer edges of your mat don't feel good to you, you can always bring them together right underneath you. Maybe stacking your fists on top of each other and resting your forehead on your stacked hands. From here, maybe spreading or reaching our hands forward on our mat. We're going to walk our hands over towards the right side. So trying to keep our sits bones close to our heels, getting a little lateral flexion into the spine. You're keeping your knees together in child's pose, or they're still apart. So reaching forward, feeling that nice stretch into the left rib cage, the left side of the body. Checking in with your breath. We want the breath to be fluid and smooth. Your breath will tell you if you've gone too far, but finding that place of gentle tension, finding your edge in every pose that you do. And we're going to walk our hands back to the top of our mat. And then walk our hands over to the left side. So again, trying to keep our sits bones and our heels near each other. This time opening up the right side of the body, the right rib cage. Finding that gentle tension and that stress. Lateral flexions are some of my favorite types of poses because in our normal everyday life we do not do side bends. So I love these side bends. Let's inhale ourselves, fingers reaching to the top edge of the mat. Couple more breaths here. Let's take our 3 rounds of breath. On your 4th breath, we're going to pull ourselves up slowly to table, bringing our knees back under our hips. Maybe a little cat and cow feels good here, just moving the spine into a forward bend and a little back bend. Any gentle movement in your body needs to release tension, maybe circling your hips a little bit. And then coming back into stillness, we're going to come onto our backs. So I usually just like to gently roll myself back down. We're going to keep our knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, but walk your feet a little bit closer to your bottom. Tucking our shoulder blades underneath. Walking our feet close to each other in the middle of the mat. We're going to lift that right leg to the sky, crossing that right leg or the right knee on top of the left. So they're stacked right on top of each other. We're not in an open position, but we're stacking our knees on top of each other. We're going to inhale our knees up to into our chest, maybe holding below the kneecaps. You might feel a gentle tug into the right glutes. Or maybe you prefer to hold your ankles right above your ankles, hugging your legs close to each other. I'm going to set my timer. So finding that place in your body where you feel gentle tension, a little stress, finding your stillness. We're going to hold the pose for several minutes. Noticing the sensations in your body. Breathing. Sometimes the hardest part of a yin practice is the stillness. We're so used to moving and going 24/7, 365. This gives us a chance to slow down and really feel our bodies. Feel the pose inside and out. Hugging the knees into the chest. Feeling that gentle tension. Making our joints a little bit stronger by stimulating them with all this pressure and tension. Always being mindful of your body. We're almost done with this pose, just a little bit longer. Maybe finding that you can hug your knees a little bit tighter because your body has opened a little bit. Let's take our 3 rounds of breath here. And then we're slowly going to release it, uncrossing our legs, bringing both feet back down to the mat. Maybe arms down by our sides. Just going to recenter here, taking a couple breaths. letting the tension flow out of the body. And then moving to the other side, you're going to extend the left leg to the ceiling and then cross the left leg over the right. So our knees are stacked right on top of each other. Inhaling the knees into the chest until you find your edge, that place where you feel gentle tension. I'm going to reset the timer. So we're even on both sides. Maybe your hands are under your kneecaps and you're pulling your knees into your chest. Maybe you're holding right above the ankles. So whichever one feels better for you, that's the version you should take. Feeling a little tension into the back of the hips, into the glutes, into all the ligaments back there, holding our bones in place. The tendons that hold our muscles to bones, all getting a little stress. Good tension. Feel it. Breathe through it. And checking in with your breath. Checking in with your mind. Maybe seeing how calm and settled your mind is. We're getting near the end of this pose. Hold on. Breathe. Let's take our 3 rounds of breath here. And we're going to slowly release this pose. You don't have to move fast. We can do this slow. Walking our feet to the outer edges of the mat, keeping our knees bent, and just letting the knees rock side to side in a little windshield wiper pattern. So just side to side, releasing any tension in the hips. Go as slow or as fast as you need. Then we're going to come back to stillness, coming back to center, both knees pointing to the ceiling. Feet are about hip width apart. Last movement for the spine is a twist. So we're going to hug our knees into the chest, and it doesn't have to be real tight. It can just be a loose hug. We're going to extend our arms straight out to the side. Palms are facing down as we inhale here. We're going to exhale and allow the knees to drop over to the right side. Trying to keep both shoulders on the floor. Knees are coming down. If your left shoulder's popping off the floor, we can always grab one of our props, pillow or a blanket, and let our knees rest on the props. This way your shoulders stay on the mat. And if it feels okay on your neck, you can turn your gaze towards the left fingers. Close down the eyes. And we'll stay in this twist for several minutes. Giving a little love to all the ligaments in our spine that hold each vertebrae together. Closing the eyes. Your face is toward your knees or away from your knees. You can close down the eyes. Feel your body breathing. Getting to the end of practice. You might be feeling a little more peaceful in your mind. Settling down. Staying in stillness and just breathing. We're going to take our 3 rounds of breath here. On your 4th breath, we're going to bring our knees back to center. And then exhale them over to the left side. So again, if you need to prop up your knees with a pillow or blanket to keep your right shoulder on the floor, do so. If it feels okay on your neck, to turn your gaze away from your knees over the right fingertips. That's an option. If that does not feel good on your neck, keep your face turned toward your knees. And let's just take a couple minutes to marinate on this side, twisting our spine in the opposite direction. Through our class today, we did move the spine in 6 different directions. We did a forward bend. We did a back bend. We did a lateral side bend to the right. a lateral side bend to the left, a twist to the right, and a twist to the left. So 6 movements of the spine, and we did them all. Great job today. If you do a lot of sitting in your life or you're very sedentary, our joints tend to shrink wrap, right? We get tighter because we're not using them. Yin is a perfect antidote for that because we're moving into the joints, bypassing the muscles, moving into the joints, keeping them mobile, keeping our range of motion. Almost to the end of this side. Keep breathing. Let's take our 3 rounds of breath here. On your 4th inhale, we're going to bring our knees back to center, return our head to look towards the ceiling. Maybe we'll bring our hands down alongside. Palms are facing down. We're going to press into our feet, press into our palms. Just lift the hips a little bit off the ground and reset them, extending our legs down along the mat. We're coming into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So our legs are extended along the mat. If you have issues with your lower back, we can use our props again and support our knees with the pillows. This might feel better on your lower back. But find a place that feels really good for you, where you can completely relax your body. We're finished stressing our body. We're finished building tension. We just want to allow ourselves to relax. So traditionally our arms are down by our sides, palms are facing up, closing the eyes, letting our body soften into the mat, right? Letting go of any tension, letting every exhale take you deeper into relaxation. Relaxing our toes, relaxing our feet, relaxing our ankles, relaxing our lower legs, relaxing our upper legs, letting our hips soften and melt into the mat. Our abdomen relaxes. Our spine is fully supported by the earth. The rib cage relaxes, shoulders relax, arms are heavy down by our sides, releasing tension from the neck, Releasing tension from the face, from our jaw, from our forehead. Softening, melting, relaxing, breathing, just being present. Let's begin to deepen our breath, coming back to conscious inhales and exhales. And then bringing some gentle movement into the body, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes, maybe circling wrists, circling ankles. Might feel good to rock your head gently side to side. And then coming back to center, we're going to inhale the arms overhead, giving our body one nice long stretch. Fingertips to toes. And then we're going to roll onto our right or left side, just curling up into a little ball for a couple of breaths. And then using that top arm, we're going to bring ourselves back up to seated. And that can be crisscrossing your legs or legs extended out in front of you, whatever feels good. Finding that nice long spine again. Sits bones grounded into the mat. Crown of the head reaching towards the sky. Let's bring our fingertips out to the side as we inhale them overhead. Nice big inhale, reaching to the sky. Palms come together and we're going to draw the hands down by our hearts. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I'll see you next time. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you, everyone.